Hi everyone, it's Ryan from sonofvin. This week I have a couple wines from a wine region just outside of LA that a lot of people probably don't even know exists. When people think of wine from California, they usually think of places like Napa, Sonoma, and maybe possibly even Santa Barbara region. But yet, in reality, there's a really bustling and booming section of winemaking happening in the Temecula Valley. Just between San Diego and LA, it actually kind of shocked me when I went out there because I'd never been there before and I was expecting something a little more quaint. But when I got there, especially, it seemed almost kind of like Wine Row. There's just winery chateau after winery chateau full of people having lunch, listening to live music with wedding venues and hotels, all part of these little chateaus that are set up. I was kind of shocked because that's not what I'd kind of heard of when I thought of Temecula. I thought of Temecula as like it's still a bustling, it's still trying to take off as a wine region. Yet what I saw was certainly kind of the opposite. Maybe these are only people from the LA and San Diego areas that know about this place still, and maybe they're friends coming in for weddings and whatnot. But I was quite surprised to see just how popular it was. Whenever you show up, you've got all these people, just lines of cars that you have to park so far away just to even get up to the winery in order to even taste the wines. Strangely enough, I actually was out there for a wedding myself, not in Temecula, in a neighboring region just near Temecula. So I decided I've got to stop into at least a couple wineries and try a few before I head home. When I think of Temecula and wine, I was thinking of something kind of like how I remember Los Olivos in the San Ynez Valley just north of Santa Barbara, how that region was, say, in the early 2000s when I first started going up there. Kind of small, kind of simple, not a whole lot of people visiting, kind of nice if you want a nice peaceful getaway for the weekend if you're from LA. And what I found in Temecula was completely the opposite. It just made like what Los Olivos is actually becoming more like now, and give it another 10 years, it may be like what Temecula already is now. If you want the party, if you want the places to hang out and just drink and hang out with your friends outside at some patio with a nice chateau in the background. You want to have a nice wedding venue, you want to have a nice place to stay at a hotel for the weekend and have wine easily, readily available, and just be able to party and just have that kind of atmosphere with live music around you. Temecula is a place to go, apparently. All right, so we're going to start with Miramonte Winery. I dropped by them, I did some quick research, and they seem to have a lot of different varieties that I thought might be interesting. They got some good rave reviews from people, and I wasn't quite sure what to expect when I got there, but you kind of drive in and you see this chateau on top of a hill, and you think, wow, this whole region of Temecula just feels like I must be in Tuscany, I must be somewhere in Europe, because it certainly has that kind of feel. And I'm willing to bet they kind of went for that on purpose, that this whole region is just filled with these all sitting high up on hills with vineyards just rolling down the hill until it hits the road, with huge signs about each chateau, vineyard, winery, tasting room along the way. It's just one after another. And Miramonte was one that I saw that I thought would be interesting, so I checked them out. So in this case, I decided to pick up a Touriga Nacional 2015 from the Temecula Valley, because I thought that would be interesting, that somebody is actually growing and making wines from Touriga Nacional here in the SoCal region. I'd never seen that before. For people who are a little bit more in the know about wine, you know that Touriga Nacional is insanely popular in Portugal. It's used quite a bit in ports. It is heavily used as table wines in the Douro. The first taste I had of this one was, it actually was quite good. I've had a few from the Douro, and I actually feel like this is bolder, this is stronger. It has more flavor, more going on with it. The smell is just overwhelming of like jam and dark berries, and just something that you're going to enjoy if you like your dark jams and you like eating things that have really strong fruits like figs and things that you're really going to be able to taste that darker grit too. This wine is for you. It's it's really amazing. I'm actually really impressed with something coming. Like I said, maybe biased, but I had always heard Temecula was still kind of a growing wine region, but this to me is top notch. This is a really good wine. The coloring is just a deep, deep, deep red purple. It's strong. I mean, this wine all around is just very impressive. Before I move on to the next wine, I just wanted to add a little bit of extra detail here. You know, I noticed something about Miramonte is that they're really focusing heavily on the Spanish wines, the Portuguese wines, some of the southern French wines. It's an interesting mix that they're going for something unique and different, and I find that very peculiar because you've got San Ynez focusing on certain types of wines, and then you have this region of Temecula that they seem to be angling more towards another type of grape. These areas all want to focus on something different to make themselves stand out, to be unique, and that's probably a good marketing tactic anyway. Or maybe it's just the terroir, and you've got also the weather and whatnot that makes certain ones grow better in certain areas, because you've got the Rhone varietals all focusing in the Santa Barbara area, San Ynez, etc., and you've got a lot of these Spain, Portuguese, different ones that are all trying to be grown in Temecula. And if you want to go further north, you've got the Central Valley, and you got the Zinfandels, Sonoma, Napa, Cabernets. You've got all these ones that in certain areas are just, you know, focusing very heavily on, because probably the weather is my guess, and they've just tested and found that certain ones do better in certain areas. But it is rather interesting, you know, for being a tall, very big state, California can have all these different varieties that are kind of all over Europe, but yet they're all in one state here in California. So moving on to the next wine, speaking of Europe, this place is actually called Europa Village. Now, this one seems to be a hodgepodge of a bunch of different labels. I don't know if they're all owned by the same people or if they're just kind of conglomerate joining together a bunch of different winemakers and under one label. I'm not necessarily sure. A little research didn't show that, so, you know, these are very short videos. I'm not going to focus too heavily on that for now. But this place, Europa Village, by its name, by and large, is they are attempting to recreate a village you may see in Europe. It is a nice chateau sitting on a decent hill, not something as high as Miramonte was, but mind you, but still on a bit of a hill. They've got their own wedding venue. They've got some live music. They've got their own little wine store that has their wines. Plus, I did notice they had a number of wines that were imported in that they themselves are slapping their own label on. So you do have to be careful if you're going there thinking you're buying a Temecula wine. You may end up buying something that is no different than going to your supermarket that's an Italian wine or French wine or whatever. But I actually went up to one of the tasting people and said, I just solely want to focus on wines here from Temecula. So he pulled out this Cabernet Sauvignon. It's a 2015, and we tasted this one together. I did notice this one is overwhelming with strawberries. It doesn't have that like typical Cabernet odor that you may say like as a green pepper. It's like a very unique thing you often find with Cabernets. This one didn't have it, and I think maybe this is because it's a warmer weather Cabernet. That's my guess. It is a much lighter red than the Miramonte Touriga Nacional, but I still enjoyed it just the same. If I had to choose between these two, I would have to say I enjoyed the Touriga Nacional a little more, because I do tend to like my stronger, bolder, deeper red wines. It certainly has a lot more tannin than the Cabernet. I just think it's how it was made. This Europa Village wine is made to be, I think, a much milder Cabernet, easier to drink for their audience possibly. So anyway, the full name is C'est la Vie Wine Chateau, made by Europa Village. It's a 2015 Cabernet Sauvignon from Temecula Valley as well. I hope you enjoyed this fairly quick episode with only 2 wines, and I hope you guys are having a great new year, and I will see you soon.